We're not quite through the first third of April, but the Twins apparently have reached the "our pets' heads are falling off" level of despair. Ace Pablo López injured his hamstring at a crucial juncture against Bobby Witt and the Royals. The Twins got out of that jam, but the Royals got the best of them in the end. It's only 11 games. Didn't we say it was only 10 games yesterday? But the Twins are hurting. So before anything else goes wrong, please, for the love of Pablo, get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Brown, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. We also have Brandon Warren with us. Locked On Twins is your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer, like I said, out of order, who can't stop staring at the roadside disaster unfolding in the Twin Cities. I'm talking about the Twins. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, also mentioned out of order by me, who we hope has two strong hamstrings. We've got a lot of potting to do, after all. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both. Can he become a Twins player? Because they might be able to use some. You can't find us at Puckett's Pond anymore, but there's always Access Twins and zone coverage. On the podcast today, we're going to try and keep this light. I'm kidding. This has got to be a low point. The Twins fell to 3-8. That isn't necessarily a low point as far as one-loss record. We'll just see what unfolds. But when you couple it with Ace Pablo López being felled by a hamstring strain, it's hard to imagine going lower. So please try not to imagine it. We will talk López prognosis. He's a son of doctors, so he was optimistic that he will make his next start, which sounds like an utter delusion. But maybe Pablo got into the medicine cabinet and took something he shouldn't have.
Sounds like Joe Ryan last August. Joe Ryan thought he'd make his next start, but the Twins disagreed.
Will you stop subtweeting?
No.
They say that the doctor who has himself as a client is a fool, or is that another profession? I don't know. What else went wrong Tuesday at Kauffman Stadium? Oh, well, we got you. Griffin Jacks made an astoundingly bad throw on an error. Not even a pitch that allowed Bobby Witt to take third on a comebacker. He's fast, but he doesn't get to do that without help. And Carlos Correa details why he keeps hitting ground balls. It cost the Twins a rally with a double play. Before we wade into it, and I can't think of quickly anybody named Wade who played for the Twins, so you're spared a pun. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use Locked On MLB as a code at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. What are you waiting for? What are the Twins waiting for? Brandon, what are they waiting for?
Godot, I guess. Hey, on the bright side, Zebby looked really good. So if that's the...
Did Godot play for the T-Wolves?
Probably. If they need to go get a pitcher, Zebby was looking pretty good for St. Paul, but that is really, trying to put lipstick on the St. Paul Saints pig right there. It was what it comes down to for me is good teams make other teams pay when they make mistakes, and the Twins are not doing that right now. Whether it's a dropped pop-up, a missed fly ball by, was that Hunter Renfroe that lost it in the twilight in Kansas City?
It's a tough sky, Brandon.
Yeah, I believe that. There was Harrison Bader not striking out on a slider and that he didn't appear to hit, and then swinging at an even worse pitch on the next one in a true ball don't lie fashion. The Twins are just not doing really anything that makes it appear that they deserve to win ball games. And I tweeted a screenshot from the MLB app during the game last night, and it was the OPS, the season OPS figures for everyone that was in the lineup. And it was Harrison Bader with like a 950, and everyone else has started with like a 4 or a 5. And again, like we were talking about off the air, I said, like, it's no real shame for Cole Reagans to shut you down, but you can't just keep saying that every single night, like, oh, starting pitcher got hot. Michael Lorenzen is not Cole Reagans, and they didn't do anything to him. Martin Perez, even if he's decent, is not Cole Reagans. And so I still believe in the talent. I still believe in the structure here, but they're just not doing things to win baseball games. And it's as foundational and simple as that. And it's other teams using their weapons to exploit where the Twins fail, because Griffin Jack's throw to first base, I mean, I know he's a member of the Air Force, but this was a bit much. And
Ayo.
Bobby Witt ends up on third base. Like, you could not have. It was as though Witt bunted and tripled at the same time, and that's just where the Twins are right now. And I'm not like, they're not taking it lying down. They're not taking it seriously. But I understand fans who are just like, well, what the heck? How much worse can it get before something changes?
And the Twins are like, let's find out.
Yeah, well.
So Pablo Lopez, Carlos Correa spotted it. Carlos Correa. Now we're going to talk about him hitting into the double play, and but he also made like 3 great. He made a on the Griffin Jack's overthrow.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
I don't know. I think Miranda was behind him. I don't know if he would have saved, but the ball almost got by him. And I mean, that would have been, you want to see like aesthetically worse. That would have been hilariously awful. And I use hilarious in a, so funny I could die kind of a thing.
Colloquially in the community, we call it a snowball fight. And that would have been the death punch. That would have been Buddy the Elf throwing the last snowball and knocking the Twins for a loop. Like, it was the most 2025 Twins way to lose based on how they've been losing games. And again, like, I can't emphasize this enough. I still believe in the team. I still believe in the talent, but at 3-8, you are who you are until you prove otherwise.
That really is the only thing they have going for them, that it's only 11 games. I mean, it's a crutch and a cliche.
It's the equivalent of one game in the NFL season, basically.
Yeah. I mean, this certainly does not indicate, a team that I projected. It wasn't even that. It was just a prediction pulled out of somewhere that they'd win 94 games. I don't want to say there's like no chance of that happening, but there's no chance of that happening. They're not anywhere. If they're going to win, it's going to be kind of like last year, but maybe without a collapse at the end where they win 86 games or something and sneak in, and it's just not as good as I thought it was going to be. And that sounds like life in general, doesn't it?
Well, but they're gonna have to go on like an Oakland A's 2002 second half spree, or 2000. Well, I think it was 2002, right? The year they went like 60-18 or something after the break. It was some unbelievable run that they had. And that's kind of what it's looking like the Twins are going to have to do, which is I don't love the odds of that.
It's incredibly hard.
Yeah, that's right, Wash. Tell him, Wash.
So Carlos Correa, we get off track here at Lockdown Twins. Usually. Carlos Correa made the save with Pablo Lopez, who might have kept pitching had he, he doesn't want to come out. He's got adrenaline pumping, but he's hurt his leg. He can't really feel his leg at this point. And Carlos is like, oh yeah, I noticed, brother, you're touching the back of your leg. Is everything okay back there? And Lopez didn't know what to say because, he knew that the conversation was going to lead to him leaving the game. And he's like, well, not really. Not doing too good right now. Not doing too good, Carlos. But it is looking at the bright side of the injury, which is that's the subtitle of the Twins season. I guess, yeah. It's a mild hamstring strain, just like the mild hamstring strain of Brock Stewart that's still going on. Lopez is getting an MRI this morning. Might have had it already. I don't know. And he's hopeful that he can make his next start, which, I mean, you want to talk, you thought I was delusional thinking the Twins are going to win 94 games, but let's give him some grace. And and hopefully that's true. At least I thought maybe it could be a cramp. That would have been the most ideal outcome. But of course, the worst thing is something more along the lines of like what happened to Royce Lewis.
Yeah.
So at least it isn't that. Pablo was very uncertain about things last night because he's like, I've never been hurt like in my life. I don't feel pain. But he's like, what's that?
Well, and there were signs. The fastball he threw right before was 92.3 miles per hour, which was his slowest fastball of the night.
It was a sinker, and those tend to be slower. But yeah, I would say maybe 3 pitches. He wasn't sure, but it was something like 3 pitches. He was throwing compromised a little bit, so it wasn't too much. But there was action on the bases, and the Twins got out of the jam. That was kind of a, I mean, that wasn't perfect either. Cole Sands came in and threw a strike to Witt. It was great. It was sad too because the game was shaping up so. It was so fun. It was López versus Hamels, and they were both on. They were both pitching as well as they can.
Ron Cole.
Did I say Hamels? I've been calling him Cole Hamels. Can you believe that?
I can because a lefty,
Cole Reagan, Cole Hamels.
Stud. Well, and so I was working the broadcast last night, and they were talking about how Cole Reagans and Cole Sands had played in high school together.
Yeah.
And Corey kept talking about, and Cole's older brother was drafted. And I'm like, I sent in the chat, like, he keeps saying Cole. You got to specify which one. They're both Cole. Like, I know Corey was like talking about one of them had an older brother who was also drafted. I don't know. I never figured out which one it was.
Maybe all of them have a brother named Cole. And, it's just like George Foreman, where everyone's named George in the family.
Or Rougned Odor.
Yes, Rougned. That's probably a better reference, Dave.
Well,
all right, we're going to take a break, and we'll just we'll try and calm down and get back to it.
Yeah, we'll fire you into the MRI tube, and we'll come back.
Oh, I don't like it.
Well, you know what I do like, though, is Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious, consider Wonderful Pistachios. It's a good source of protein. It's one of the highest protein nuts you'll find out there. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I like the ones that come in the shell. You got to pick them apart, throw away the shells, but I like kind of taking my time with a snack because if you know me, I don't have a lot of self-control when it comes to snacking. And so that helps kind of keep me at bay. But I'll tell you what, if you find some that are already shelled, those are absolutely delicious as well. And again, you know that if you're having a snack of Wonderful Pistachios, you're getting protein, you're getting fiber, you're getting all that goodness and none of the bad stuff, which for a mindless snacker such as myself is very important. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Are we back? We're back. Are the Twins back? I don't know. I don't think so. They're only 3-8. We got basically the whole season to go. Griffin Jacks yesterday faced the media, such as it was, and said, we got 6 months of season left, which is funny because you start with 6 months of season left. So that was sort of the point that he was trying to make, that it's not over yet, but he's definitely not happy with his own performance right now. And he made a great pitch to Witt too on the ball that he hit about 3 feet that led to the overthrow. It was a really good pitch. I think it was, I don't know if it was a changeup or splitter or whatever, but it was something really nasty. And he got lots of soft contact, and then he just kind of softly sailed it away. And that's he's like, well, that's why we lost the game. And technically the best kind of correct. That's true. But again, the reason that the Twins, we can't forget the offense not doing anything.
It was a sweeper, by the way. It was a sweeper.
It was a sweeper. Okay. It was really great, I thought.
91.4 miles per hour, hit 97 on the sinker before that. I mean, the pieces are there for Jacks. I think Jacks, even though he's not part of the offense, which has been all the biggest struggles in my opinion, he basically exemplifies what's wrong with the Twins right now. Everything seems to be good in terms of like within the picture. but the execution just isn't there. You know, like Griffin Jackson's throwing 97 with a sweeper going 91, 92. That's going to work. That's going to be everything you need from him. And yet he's giving up homers and not getting people out. And it's just kind of where he's at right now and where the team is at right now.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him about his pitching struggles earlier in the week, but I did ask Ryan Jeffers. It was the day after the Yordan Alvarez home run, and he's like, we wouldn't do anything different. Like even execution. Alvarez had been struggling with pitches up in the zone that game, and it's a good pitch for Jax generally. Now you've got on the books the Alvarez home run, before that Arenado. Pitches that were more so the Arenado home run where the ball, if the box is right, it touched the zone, but it wasn't in the zone all the way. It was really high. So it's a pitch that worked before, and it hasn't worked a couple times when he's tried it, and it's cost them a little bit.
So I've been listening to 3 Days in August. Have you read that before? The Buzz Bissinger book from back in
I remember, yeah. In the Cardinals, yeah.
And it was like there's some really illuminating stuff about Tony La Russa and how ahead of his time he was back then. Make sure I clarify. But it came down to like they're even explaining the difference between a starter and a reliever. And it was like, one, since you only face hitters one time, very rarely ever two, you can kind of give everything you got. But also it makes a lot of more sense to go with your strengths as opposed to thinking about the hitter's weaknesses. And that's something I think a lot of fans lose is like, oh, you can't, like when they brought in Robbie Ray to face Yordan Alvarez in the playoffs, and everyone said, well, Yordan kills lefties too. Okay. But like, you have to throw somebody. You can't just throw someone that's going to throw it off the top of their head. So it's not a lefty or a righty. Right. And so you work for your strengths. Robbie Ray, Cy Young winner, great pitcher when he's at his best. And it just didn't work. Like I to hear that again, this book is chronicling something that happened 22 years ago. It just still felt so timely and so relevant. Like sometimes the right thing goes wrong. And that's kind of how that's going with this team right now. And, there's no foolproof strategy. There's no foolproof anything. And so with Griffin Jax, yeah, I'd much rather even if he's facing someone like Bobby Witt who kills sweepers, if there's such a thing, like you still have to lean into your strength before you consider someone else's weakness. And so I don't know. It felt apt to bring that up. I listened to that part yesterday while I was driving around, and it just kind of stuck with me.
Well, the Twins had a very, you mentioned the mistakes that they made on defense that cost them both their runs. Mickey Gasper mishandling a ground ball earlier in the game. And then later he handled what looked like a more difficult play.
Yes, he
very
did.
well. And Jose Miranda has had, except for his home run, he hasn't hit anything. But he's played, I don't know what the metrics say, but he's played really good at third base. He was making some nice plays yesterday. He has soft hands, and he made a throw. It skipped to Correa, and they couldn't turn, or Mickey, and they couldn't turn a double play. I don't know if they would have anyway, but it was a nice,
Well, and Mickey picked that out nicely too, right after the error. Like I feel bad for Mickey because you can very clearly see a player who's trying to do everything he can to stay in the big leagues and prove himself. Like it's not a unique struggle to a young player or a player with 18 days of service time or whatever it is, but he very clearly wants to prove himself. He wants to succeed. He wants to do everything he can to make the decision for what happens to him next very difficult. And when baseball senses that you're chasing it that way, it does kind of that dangling carrot. It pulls it further from you. And I think that it's so tough to watch because even just meeting him a couple times, like he's a good dude, and you don't root for people or players, but but for as humans, like we're all human here. And I feel so bad because he wants so badly to make this difficult decision, or this decision for the Twins difficult when, Brooks Lee and hopefully Royce Lewis get healthy again soon.
Brooks Lee, by the way, good segue, us. has been promoted in his rehab assignment to AAA, I believe. I didn't double check that.
Batted second and played second for the Saints on what's today? Tuesday it was. So yeah, he very short stopover in Fort Myers, and Lavelle seems to think it's going to be a while before they bring him back. I'm less convinced. They badly wanted him to win that second base job, and they're going to need just a not change of venue, change of scenery, but shuffle a deck chair or two. So if it means Gasper going down or Kiersey, I mean, Kiersey's not really playing that much. Buxton's playing every day, which is another subplot that's good, but has not worked out. I think Brooksley is going to be coming back fairly soon, and that's going to hopefully be a shot in the arm they need, because they need a few. This is not this is your 3-month checkup. You need lots of shots because this is not going well.
Before I forget, one of the good things about last night was pinch running Kersey going first to third on a single. This was before
that was great. Yep.
Carlos Correa. It was electrifying. It was there were so many moments in the game that gave you hope or were entertaining or just were positive energy things, and that was one of them. And and then Carlos Correa hit a double play. So
104 mile per hour or whatever.
Yeah, but on the ground, you got to all right. We'll talk about that, and we'll wrap up this show after these commercial messages.
Well, if you're like me and you check your bank account and wonder where all your money went, you're, I guess, not unique, but you definitely do need Monarch Money, because between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track of all of your expenditures. And that's where Monarch Money comes into play. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. I love seeing the insights. I love knowing what my net worth is. I love adding little different things in there to keep track of, whether it's checking, savings, investments, all that stuff, all in one place. I've used some of the other guys, and Monarch Money is head and shoulders better than everybody else. And again, that all-in-one convenience, I can't emphasize enough how helpful and beneficial that has been. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com, and you'll get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off that first year.
Locked On Twins, home stretch. Brandon and Dave talking to you about the frustrating 11 games. It's only 11 games. Don't worry about it. It's only 11 games of the season. I saw a tweet. I didn't dig into the data on the stat, but Parker Hegeman had a tweet, and Parker knows his stuff, about Carlos Correa topping the ball too much. And Correa, confirmed that he is having a problem doing that. And that is what he did apparently last night when he hit the ball really hard, but right at an infielder for a double play that killed a rally. Mm-hmm. And for all the great things that Correa did in the game last night, not the least of which was, getting Pablo López to leave the game when he was hurt, and the other saves that he made. He had, his results stink, and he was mad at himself. He said it bit me in the ass, and that's what he said. So we can report it that way. Mm-hmm. That he got out of, he kind of raised his legs a little bit and got out of. He was undisciplined at the plate and wasn't doing the things that he's been working on to avoid hitting the ball on the ground, and he hit the ball on the ground. So it is for all that Correa does for the team. It sounded like takes responsibility for failing them when they needed it. And they badly need somebody to step up and mm-hmm. go beyond these, I don't want to call them excuses, but reasons that don't work out and that play beyond. So I thought maybe they had broken out of this. If that's a mental thing, sort of preventing them from having consistent success. Or as we sort of speculated at the beginning of the show, maybe they're just not as good as we thought they were.
I want to walk back just a bit with Correa to the Pablo situation, and Pablo being the one calling for the trainer, which is, that's leadership.
Yeah.
In a way that's, I think, maybe a little bit unconventional. Why do you think Pablo didn't bring it up to Pete Mackey, who had just been out there? Is there reason to believe it's less serious for that reason? Or I'm still kind of mystified by this team in general. And so I'm kind of grasping for straws here.
Well, that's a good question. Like I said, a little bit, Pablo was a little out of sorts even after the game because he's never experienced an injury like this. He doesn't know, he hasn't missed a start with the Twins. I don't know if he did with the Marlins. But he wasn't sure what he was feeling. He knew that something was wrong. He didn't want to come out of the game because they don't want to come out of the game.
Right.
It was Bobby Witt in a big situation in a game that the Twins really needed to win.
You live for that. It was
yes.
To steal a joke from our group chat. It was a must-win game.
It was, but it really was a must-win game. They have another one today, but
yeah,
it was. So he was confused about what he should do. He said and Pablo, our listeners out there, I'm sure they've heard Pablo speak on stuff. You should find any interview that he's ever done, because you are going to be taught new vocabulary and proper grammar. And it's amazing. It is therapeutic to listen, in this world where you can't find, I'm not talking about baseball. I'm just talking about the short, stunted form of language that we use on the internet. It is just amazing to hear him talk about whatever's going on. And
he's very thoughtful.
He puts a lot of thought into it and a lot of effort into trying to communicate. And so he was, getting back to your original question, didn't know what to say because it was a foreign situation for him. So
that should impress upon people how much of a thing it is that the man that's extremely articulate, genius level intelligence, was at a loss for what do I say, what do I do? And to have a teammate like Correa do that, not for nothing, any younger player would probably not feel like they have carte blanche to say, hey, you need to do this, or we're going to do this. If Willie Castro's out there playing shortstop, I don't think he speaks up like that. And so it may fall by the wayside of a bad season. It might fall by the wayside of a good season, but Correa doing that and that diving stop on the throw that kept Witt at third, those are things that baseball fans may not see that matter a lot over the grand scheme of things.
They should matter a lot. Yes, no, you're right. Those are the kind of things that we've said it before, and I think we mean it in more of a conventional way. But when Correa is not on the field, we notice the Twins are not as highly functional as they could be with someone else playing shortstop, and things get missed. And it isn't necessarily a dig at who's ever replacing Correa, but there's how many other players who are even with his service time and experience are necessarily going to find that stuff. He's worth no matter how many maybe not no matter how many double plays, but no matter how he's struggling, he's worth whatever they're paying him. I don't even care. But
don't make it a personal challenge, though. How many double plays can you ground into? It's just like how much pitching do you need? More.
So we'll see today. We will get it's another night game where as we record about 8 hours away, but maybe we'll know before that what's going on with Pablo and his right hamstring. And we'll see how Brooks Lee progresses and how quickly at AAA, and maybe we'll get the Twins to commit to, it was the rehab assignment, the part that was in Florida. Was that quick for any reason in particular, or is it going to be another 3 games and St. Paul, or is it going to be a couple of weeks or whatever? So
Yeah, because it's what 15 days or 15 games.
I wonder though, quickly, Dave, if it's a situation because it's his back and it feels good. It's like, all right, as soon as you're ready to hit, let's go before this happens again. And you have a bad back, and you never know when it's going to happen. So it's like, all right, that's why I wonder if maybe if he shows that he can get on base a little bit.
Yeah, maybe the homestand
quickly. So we'll see.
In time for the homestand would be good. With was it the Mets, and I can't remember who else is gonna. I'm so like laser focused on the game in front of me that I can't even think about it.
Yeah, let's get through Seth Lugo first, Brandon.
Yeah.
But before we get through Seth Lugo, and then Michael Waka. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. And you can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, such as this one. So for Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown, wishing you all a very pleasant good afternoon. I guess it's still morning. And remember that we will Alexei Casilla after the next Twins game.
Tomorrow night. Or tonight.
This afternoon.
Bye.
This evening. Hamstring.